From Bitcoin, blockchain or distributed ledger technology to cryptocurrencies, tokens and initial coin offerings, it seems everyone involved has something to say, but can you really trust their advice? One man's had enough of weasel words and charlatans and is ready to give you impartial, independent analysis. With digestible blockchain bites, ICO analysis and need-to-know news on cryptocurrencies, author, speaker, transparency and clarity advocate, and award-winning software innovator, Barry James brings you Radio ICO.
Hello, it's Barry James again from ICO Radio with the Blockchain Bites program, exploring the world of ICOs and blockchain, and a fascinating new company coming out of this whole ecosystem with me today, and I'm delighted to welcome one of the founders, Josef Marc. Welcome.
Hi there. Hi there.
And someone who I met recently at one of the major conferences when we were working on a panel together, Sukhi Jutla. Welcome, Sukhi.
Hello, Barry. Really excited to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
That's okay. So thank you, Sukhi, for introducing me to all of this. I know you're one of the, I think the first author, or certainly one of the early authors, and have had, an increasing role in this as it's gone along. But if you'll forgive me, let me start with Josef. So Josef, would you just give me a little bit on your background, tell us a bit about that, how you came to this point, and where did Publica come from? What's its intent?
Well, Publica came from an idea by Yuri Pimenov, who's a data scientist, and he translated Mastering Bitcoin. He's quite a deep thinker, and he shared his idea with Anton Sapriko, who's the CEO of ScandiWeb, and ScandiWeb's a pretty large company. They have customers like Walmart. And I met Anton's, and he mentioned blockchain, and I said, keep talking, because I come from digital media in general, television, film primarily, and I've made many technical contributions to standards and so on, and done many startups, and I've been looking for something to do to help bring blockchain to regular people in their regular lives. And I really wanted to get to books, because I think that's the place where it can do the most good the soonest.
Yeah, and so a background in digital media and television, if that's right.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and we all know that the publishing world, has inherited its business models from earlier ages and has been disrupted by the people who begin with the A word mm-hmm. in various ways. But this is different, isn't it? Why is it different?
Well, because we intended it to be different. The point is to make a difference, to make an impact. And we certainly watched the publishing world have to respond to the platform effects of the long tail. And most online retailers find that their advantage is to take the long tail, because their shelf space costs them nothing. And the bricks and mortar bookstores kind of took it in the chin. And I really miss them, and not just pick your own reason. I'm sure you have some. But with how we're going to make a difference, we can't change that dynamic that they already have between the long tail and the cost of bricks and mortar. But we can certainly take care of what's new and what really mattered. And what we loved about bookstores was that we trusted them. There was someone we could talk to. They were a community. And same with your libraries. I feel the same way. So we said, well, but we want to be global. Books should be global. They should be borderless. You should not have to consult anyone about where you are when you buy it or read it, and where you sell it from or to whom. But bring back that community aspect that we love from bookstores.
Yeah, cool. And Sukhi, we were chatting, and as someone who's been round the loop in terms of writing and getting a book out there, I think there's a lot of shared experience and pain there. It's not a world that works for authors, but you've trodden this new path. Tell us a bit about that. In fact, you've done it on both ways, haven't you?
Yes, I have, Barry. So I published 3 books now, and the book that I published with Publica is called Escape the Cubicle. And the reason why I decided to go with the blockchain, and publish with Publica is because I just thought it was so empowering and so exciting. And actually, someone asked me recently, did you publish on the blockchain because you were rejected by traditional publishers? And I said to them, I didn't reject them. I wasn't rejected by traditional publishers. I rejected them because I chose to make my own creative decisions, and I really wanted to be at the heart of the financial transactions, because as you probably aware, many creatives in the industry and authors are producing such amazing work, but the financial transactions tend to get lost in that huge sort of process, and the money and the income that authors and creatives get is usually an afterthought. And so I just thought it was hugely empowering to actually be able to trial this new technology. And, as someone who has print books and Kindle books, digital books, I do publish wide on Amazon and on Kobo. And what I noticed was, I still have to put in a lot of marketing effort to push my books out there. But, the key thing with the financial transactions is that if I do sell a book, I'm only notified, maybe a few days later, and the transaction, the actual monetary value only hits my personal bank account maybe 3 to 6 months later. And so when I came across Publica, I was doing some research for a white paper I was actually writing on behalf of the Alliance of Independent Authors. And I was just completely astonished with what Joseph and his team were doing. And I met them on multiple occasions, and I thought they were a very promising team, and I really like their ethos. And what I love about Joseph and Publica is that they really put authors at the heart of what they're really building. And so that is what really primarily drove my decision to publish my book on the blockchain, which was the first book in the world to actually get that status. And we were covered by Publishers Weekly at the London Book Fair. So that was a great sort of achievement to actually demonstrate and showcase to the world that blockchain can be used for books, and I completely agree with what Joseph said. Humanity is powered by books, and the more books that we can get out into the world, the better it is for you and me.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, aren't you? The internet's a wonderful thing, and it has been transformative. But we still need books, and we still read books, and it's still a major format, but it's still kind of locked up. So let's stick with the author, Joseph, for a moment. So what's different? Why is this different or better? Is it both, or is it just different?
Well, as a creative entrepreneur, an author is going to have to decide for themselves if it's better, but it's definitely different because the entire platform only needs 10% of your revenue. And when someone buys your book token, it's in your wallet the same minute. I mean, it's, the token goes in their wallet, their money goes in your wallet, it's done. And the reason we wanted to do this on a blockchain is that you don't have to trust us at all. We will program that smart contract on the blockchain. It will do that book forever. So what the author can think about, I hope you find this exciting.
Yeah.
We don't set your prices, and we can't change them even if we wanted to. It's you tell us what the price is. That's what we code into your smart contract. That's your storefront on the blockchain forever. And the blockchain is becoming the new superhighway of commerce. So when you put your book token for sale in a smart contract on the blockchain, we actually put your book's title into the access keys in human readable form, and you can read them with any open source, free decentralized wallet.
Yeah.
And that's what's really different is you're publishing yourself really. It's really you. It's really not us. We just take care of the technical details. The uploading, it's all the same.
So it's really quite different because when I put my book onto Amazon, I now get a few dollars out of the price. They pretty much, I wouldn't say dictated the price, but not far off that. And the experience has not been a good one for me as an author. notwithstanding all the hard work that went in before that. Tell me about how this. Yeah, please.
To be a little brutal, those are Amazon's customers, not yours.
Yeah.
So the fact that they give you anything, count your blessings.
Yeah.
But you have customers, right? The people that are your fans, and they can find you on the internet. They don't need an Amazon for this. And I hope that you have fans who might live somewhere that doesn't actually care about Amazon, which is 96% of the world.
Compare and contrast your experience, in that regard. I think you've sold an awful lot of books and made an awful lot of money in a previous life. So, Sukhi, as an author, how different is it?
So I think it's hugely different in multiple different ways. So as an author, I think the first thing is you are now getting paid directly from your readers. You don't have to go through any third parties, and that's not really heard of anywhere at the moment. Whether you're using Amazon or Kobo or a traditional publisher, you're having to go through an intermediary. So Publica allows the author to send their book and receive payments directly from their reader. So I think, having that one-on-one connection is always going to be so powerful. The second thing that really excites me is that Publica has actually allowed digital book files to actually have a secondhand value. So you and I both know once you've read a paper book, it usually is sent to the charity shop and there's a little resale value. Now, even if your secondhand book does sell again and change hands, you will never get any of that value back to you. But using Publica, they've got in their roadmap to create an exchange where once a book token is sold, it can be resold again. And using the smart contract, the author can actually dictate and program in a certain percentage. So just, hypothetically speaking, if I was to sell my book and, create a new contract, I could program in that every time that the book changes hands, 10% of that, whatever the price was, goes back to the original author. So that's like, for the first time ever, creating a completely new market where no one else can compete. Even, Amazon can't even compete directly with that. And then the third thing that really excites me is what Joseph said. A lot of people don't understand or even realize that over 96% of the entire global population does not have access to Amazon. So authors do need to think a lot more wider and think about, thinking globally and really thinking that where is the opportunity going to be in the next 5 or 10 years' time?
Yeah. And when we were talking a little earlier, Joseph, you were talking about some different kinds of authors. The professional authors like Sukhi, who this is kind of part of their portfolio and expression of their knowledge and expertise. There's the famous authors, and I think you identified one or two others. Tell us a little bit about how that works for them, would you?
So the Sukhi, represents very well the author that should be doing a book ICO now. And you've got ICO there, ICO News Desk. And a book ICO is really something different. And it's different for both the authors and the readers. And that's what you want to focus on. Now, if you're already a famous author, what are your options in life? Well, you can try and get your agent to get you a bigger advance on the next one, I guess. Good luck with that. But an ICO is a bit like kickstarting your book, but you're asking people who are your fans to say, yeah, vote with their wallet, literally. And so you can, when you do pre-sales in that way, it's not a maybe, and that's honest to goodness marketing numbers. So if you are a marquee author and you're going to take your book to auction in the major publishing houses, wouldn't it be great to walk in and say, we'll take a look at the blockchain and see how I did there. And then for the readers who are fans of marquee authors, or they're fans of Sukhi and they want to see, authors like Sukhi be spread, well, the book ICO is the perfect way to do that. It's a community event. It's a timed event. It's not, go jump into the mass grave of Amazon and hope you can find it. No, it's a thing. It's got her name on it. It's got her book on it. It's so to a marquee author, that is their only leverage in the world. And Publica is completely non-exclusive. I mean, blockchains aren't even alive. right? It's a software. So we just put the smart contract on the blockchain, and hey, if it leads to something else, great for you.
Okay, so if talk me through the mechanics. What do I need to do? What do I need to have
as an author or a reader
in order to run a book ICO?
Okay, so you would have to be the rights holder.
Okay, so I've just written a book. Take me through.
Yeah, or the rights holder. It doesn't have to be the actual author, right? It can be, it could be their publisher, but someone has the right to take responsibility for the money, because the money's going to come direct to your wallet. You go to the Publica website, you click the button that says start, and you fill in the same information you would that you already have about your book. The title, the synopsis. All we add to that normal information is we ask you, pick the date when it starts and ends, because we're gonna write that into the blockchain on that date. Mm-hmm. But also give a little story about why. Why are you doing this? Because people want to know, and because everyone's story is different. So that's our tagline: is tell your story. So there's a place there for the author to tell their story about themselves, as well as the story that's in the book. Okay, so it's fundamental. There's not a huge amount of upfront cost. There's no upfront cost. No. The money goes one way. It goes only to the author. There's none coming out. Okay, so other than the cost of doing that, you take a small percentage. What is that, by the way, just as a matter of curiosity? It's a 10% platform maintenance fee, and you can look this up, but blockchains don't actually run for free. Yeah, of course. Okay. Not a problem. I just, Yeah. Good to know. So we, if we could make it lower, we certainly would, but it's a flat fee, and, we don't want to quibble about it. We'll. That's great. And it's fundamentally very much like a crowdfunding process. Is this the process you've already been through, Sukhi?
So I haven't run a book ICO with Publica yet, but I do have experience of the work they did when they ran the first book ICO with Nomadic Matt, who distributed 1,000 book tokens, and each book token was priced at 10 USD. So he raised in less than 3 weeks 10,000 USD. So that's effectively a pre-order. Like Joseph was saying, as an author, what you really need is the files that you already have. So just from a very practical point of view, I just had to give my EPUB files and my JPEG file, which was my cover, and the guys at Publica will just upload everything. But in addition, if you want to run your book ICO, there's just a few more boxes that you would straightforward process. And what I would just say is, if there are any authors listening, just do not be afraid of this technology. I've learnt all of this as I went along, and it's not particularly terrifying. It's quite simple to do, and the guys at Publica, because they do put the author right at the heart of designed, it's a very author friendly way to actually run a book ICO. Okay, so so I take that point. It's not, it's more like working with Kickstarter than writing your own website. That's kind of the point there, isn't it? But what if I've got a book idea rather than a finished book or manuscript? Can I bring that and test market it? Can I take you certainly can, but I want to correct something you said there about it's easier than building your own website. In fact, your book ICO page that we make for you, that can be your website. So if you're in that process, like you just asked, what if you're in that process, your own website's going to be important eventually, because the platform is everything. So everyone who signs up for your book ICO at any stage of the book, they're your customers, not ours. Remember what I said before about those are Amazon's customers, not yours? Yeah. These are your customers. So we send their emails on to you, because this is the platform you want to begin with. And so and that's why there's that part where, tell your story. And everyone's story is different. And there could be excellent reasons why people would want to fund you now for a book that's, all you've got is the first chapter, maybe. Yeah. Well, maybe it's a great first chapter. Maybe you've earned their trust in some other way. Maybe they've gotten to know you in some other venue.
But the blockchain can be trusted. It'll be there. That smart contract will be there when that book appears.
Yeah.
And that's why it's your story to tell. Technically, yes.
So pre-orders are welcome as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and technically they are pre-orders. So we're not trying to force a link between delivery of the book and the payment. There's nothing stopping you from delivering it at payment time, like Sukhi's book.
Yeah.
We're decoupling that because the relationship is between you and your fans.
Okay, great. And again, just looking at it again from the author's point of view, maybe we'll kind of flip after this and just talk a little bit more about the readers. But one of the things most authors are hopefully good at is writing. One of the things most authors struggle with is marketing. Is there any help in that area? Is there a marketplace for skills or any of those things yet, or is that in the plan to come? Or
a marketplace for skills? Oh, a bit like Readsy, you mean? To be frank, in the crowdfunding world, as you probably know, most platforms make a big thing of their community and how that's going to make all the difference. And now more than 9 times out of 10, it really doesn't. You really have to bring your own crowd. Where do you sit? Yeah. So there's no free lunch, right? So if you don't have a following, well, you're going to need one. So get started. Yeah. And I think a book ICO, or even if you just go to the authors channel in Telegram where authors talk, or the Publica Telegram channel where our supporters talk, or anywhere that you're willing to start, building your tribes, people that are like-minded, just talk about the book ICO, because that's interesting. They're going to say, what is that? Right? So the conversation's already started.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If you say, I'm writing a book and I hope to, throw it in the Amazon mass grave someday, well, that's kind of boring.
Yeah. Okay. So let's spin this round a little bit and look from the reader end. I think I saw something when I was looking on the very interesting Publica.com, folks, website. There's lots of interesting information there. Something about a token that you can read. Tell me about that. That's for readers. Okay, so
Sukhi, you've got some of those. So why don't you tell them?
Yeah. So the read token is essentially an access key that allows you access to the book that you've purchased. Right. So that is essentially what readers will be getting into their wallets. And as an author, that's what I'm going to be distributing to them. So I've got a bunch of book tokens, which are read-only access. And I will give access to those to the readers when they deposit Pebbles into my wallet. The second type of token that Publica has in the roadmap is the license token. And this will allow an author to give away particular types of licenses to access their work. So there's really 2 different types of tokens that Publica has created. And I think that's what's really exciting as well. So authors have options for both of those. Maybe I think Joseph could probably add a little bit more about the license token.
Yeah, it goes on the same theory of the smart contract does the math, and it can be trusted because it's a blockchain. It's an open ledger. The details of your contract, and it may not be, there for anyone to read anything you don't want to put in there, but the math is there, and it's independent of us. It doesn't need enforcement. The money just goes. So, in books especially, unlike all other media. Books are great they last a long time, and they're great for what we call derivative rights. An author goes to a lot of work to put that information together, fiction or nonfiction. And unlike all other content and media, books have the end, period, ship. And there's a bunch in there. It's not piecemeal. It's not like my blog, which is, 500 words, per post. This is a real thing. And it can provide the foundation for TV episodics, movies, of course, additional books, educational courses, entire series. And just look at the whole Harry Potter empire. So the first Harry Potter book, everything else is like derivatives of that.
Yeah.
So we can tokenize that on the blockchain as well.
Okay. So this is fascinating. So it's almost like a whole different world. As a reader, how do I approach this? That tell me about the wallet. Do I have to pay for that, or how does that work?
No, everything's free except the money that you pay to the author for their book. And that's been our role, because that means we have to get an e-reader onto the app stores, right, and Android and so on, for your phones and tablets. But the reading experience is exactly the same. Whatever you're used to, it's the same, right? See book, punch book, read book. It's always that. And all the typical ebook features, the link works and all that. So two things that are different. One is, as Sukhi mentioned before, if you buy a book token, and I love this story. This came from another interviewer who was an author and a mom, and we were talking about kids, and I said, how when kids are really small, they want to sit on your lap and have you read the book to them. Eventually, they want to sit over there and have you read the book to them. Eventually, they don't want you to give them the book anymore. They're saying, why don't you just put the darn book on my phone and I'll read it myself?
Yeah. Which,
of course, you can't do with any of those platforms where the customers belong to the platform, not to you.
Yeah.
So I really look forward to children's books, for example, where parents and grandparents and uncles and so on buy the books and put them on the kids' phones. And then the other thing that's different, so that's what's different for the reader, right? Someone can actually give you the book electronically.
And you can actually own it.
Yes. Yeah, and you can give it to your little sister when you're done. And the other thing is, you're going to see the digital wallet. We're not going to hide it from you. We get a lot of comments about, credit cards are easy. Well, yeah, if you have one. How many people don't have a credit card? Why can't they read books?
Yeah.
And of course, we're going to do the credit card exchange. It's not today, it's going to come. And so, yeah, see book, punch book, put in your credit card number, and then read book. We're going to put that in. But right now, just now at the time of this interview, I kind of prefer that you know something about wallets before you go down this journey, because this is a forever library. And if you have some emotional or political objection to blockchains, well, then this isn't for you. But yeah, we're going to make it easy. But I just want you to know, this is actual digital currency from your wallet to theirs.
So sat here with my phone, which I'm not, as you know, because I banished it from the room so it didn't disturb us. But if I was sat here with my phone, how different, and downloaded the app, how different is this from another app experience? In terms of complexity, would you say?
Well, Sukhi, I think it's exactly the same. The only thing that I did any different was the passphrase is pretty long, right? Because nobody else can fix it for you. Mm-hmm. But it's just normal words, right? It's none of those funny symbols, and you don't have to memorize any weird numbers. It's just words. Mm-hmm. Anything else different, Sukhi?
No, I mean, I was pretty new to this when I joined and signed up with my digital wallet. So I had actually put aside about an hour to set my wallet up, and I did it in 10 minutes. So it's a very, so it is actually, yeah, it literally takes you 10 minutes to set up your digital wallet. It's really not as scary as it seems. And then I downloaded the Publica app, which is on the App Store. I have an iPhone, took like 1 minute to download that onto my phone. And if you're actually in the Publica app, you can scroll, find the books, and just like a Kindle app. You're just scrolling and you find the book that you want, press purchase, and it will show you the price of the book in USD, and it will also show you the equivalent in Pebble currency, which is the native currency in the Publica ecosystem. So it just shows you what the transaction is worth. You press buy, and the transactions are done digitally, and your the book that you purchased is sitting in your library, under a minute. So it's very simple, and it's very it's not very different to purchasing a book on any other store.
Okay, and I can go to the Publica website, and there's something that will show me how to do this.
Oh yeah, the tutorials are there, but the app itself is of course on the App Store for your device.
Okay, cool. So where are you today? And what are the other things that you'd like people out there to know about Publica?
Well, we're so excited to have this independent self-publishers, do-it-yourself book ICO page up. That's always been a major milestone for us. The app was a milestone, and putting up the book library, those are all great. But this is really something that was a lot of work to do. It's really got to be bulletproof. Authors doing their own book ICOs, and that's up and going. So where we go from here is, of course, make things easier. Get feedback, work on that credit card layer, as we call it, and then I would say it's mostly mental, right? Most people discovered an ebook because they were the customer of an online retailer that also sold them shoes and luggage. So people are going to have to have the opportunity to think about ebooks as property, as they are, right? Yeah. You pay it, it's yours. So yeah. Great. That wallet and that app, you can move them to any device. They're yours forever to sell, give. That's just mentally different.
And Sukhi, what thought would you like to leave us with? Where's this going? Why is it? You're clearly excited. Why is it so exciting?
Yeah, sure. So my thought process is that this is just another distribution outlet for authors. And like you said earlier on, marketing and getting our books into the hands of our readers is where our biggest struggle lies. So if you've got another way to distribute your book, and this way allows you to be at the heart of the financial transactions and have that one-on-one relationship with the readers, then I think that can only be a good thing. So I think that for authors moving forward, and if they really want to be empowered, if they really do want to understand how they can actually dictate their own business models rather than be at the mercy of third parties or larger traditional publishers, blockchain can really allow authors and creatives to be really empowered. And what's very exciting is that the value does go to the right participants in the ecosystem. And I do think it's about time authors are given credit for the work that they do, because we're both authors, and we both know that the books that we create are a labor of love and something that is very personal to us, and we do want them to be distributed far and wide to as many readers as possible. So I think it's a great way for authors to add this blockchain element as an additional tool in their armor box.
Great. And anything you'd like to conclude with, Joseph?
No, thank you for all you do. It's this education that you offer people. That's what the world needs.
Well, thank you for that. So let me just really appreciate it. But let me just remind everyone, it's really easy to find Publica. It's publica.com. And all this great stuff is there. I will be burrowing in, and I think I'm going to enjoy that process. So for now, I'm sure we'll talk again. Josef Marc and Sukhi Jutla, thank you for your time today.
Go tell your story.
Thanks for having us.
Bye for now.
ICO Radio was brought to you by author, speaker, transparency and clarity advocate, and award-winning software innovator Barry James. Get in touch with the programme, put yourself or someone else forward as a guest. Visit iconewsdesk.com. And if you've enjoyed the show, please leave a review. And don't forget to subscribe to get your next insights and interviews from the ICO Radio podcast.